Ronnie, tell us how training camp's been.
Training camp has been great. Jermall is really focused. He's always focused. And he's always up for the challenge. Always.
On the Showtime special, I saw something about that they were acquaintances, maybe not friends so much, but acquaintances that come through the amateurs and everything. There was a point where they realized that they might end up fighting each other, and that. Can you more detail about that?
Yeah, they ran into each other a few times in the amateurs, but as a professional, when Richard was a Golden Boy, we fought on a lot of the same cards. All the time. And we really became friends. But we realized one day that, they was young then, but we realized one day it was going to happen. But, we figured that either we'll win first or they will, to be champion. And so it happened we won first. So now we're defending against them.
Was this a fight that because when I see this fight on paper, and I told Richard this, I thought this was like a pay-per-view fight in like a year or something like that. This has like that, the quality guys, caliber guys like that. Are you surprised that this happened, I guess, so early in both of their careers?
No, not really, because both guys are really good fighters. And they both, I guess, deserve to be at the top where they are right now. You got to fight your way to the position. And they both did. And so this is where they're at.
Jermall said something about that he's the champion now, and I think he said something like he has to fight this undefeated nobody. Was there anything like to that, or was that just
that's just Jermall. Look, man, all fighters are confident in their abilities and what they can do, what they bring to the table. And he just feels he's the better guy. And I'm glad he feels that way, because I don't have to, do anything extra to try to motivate him. He's highly motivated and he's ready to go.
How do you see the ending of this fight going?
I only look for the beginnings. I never look for the end. Because look, if you go in and try to knock a guy out and you don't get it, then what's going to happen later in the later rounds or whatever? Look, I think I've got Jermall to the point to where he realized that you can go 12 rounds with anybody. It doesn't make a difference who it is. You may get him out early, then you may not. You have to be prepared. And the only way to do that is to train hard, follow the game plan, and let it take its course.
As you look at your competitor across the ring, what's something that you think that Julian Williams does well?
Well, I think Julian does a lot of things well. He has a good jab. He does the simple fundamental of boxing, which is, I think, carries a lot of fighters a long way. Good jab, combination punches, stuff like that. Jermall does the same thing. It's going to be, I think, whoever has the biggest will to win this fight. And I feel my guy, has a huge will to win. That's the way he trains, that's the way he eats, he sleeps. And everything is about him being the best that he could possibly be. I don't put anything negative in his head, or you have to win, you have to win. I wouldn't do that to any fighter, because that's just not the way the sport is supposed to be. You win some and you lose some. But don't get into a position, don't put yourself in a position where you feel it's a must, because that'll ruin a guy's career.
Since you feel that this fight is a battle of wills, do you foresee it being like a battle of attrition with a lot of short bursts of action, a sustained attack? How do you envision this fight will look?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, for us, it's going to be a sustained attack. That's the way we plan on doing it. But of course, you have to make adjustments in there. So, but, in training, we train to go toe-to-toe. That's what we have to do. We want to beat them at every aspect of the game. And that's the way we train, to beat them at every aspect of the game.
We are familiar with Jermall as a champion, but what would you say is something that's underrated about him that fight fans don't realize?
That I mean, he's really a very smart individual, and outside of the ring and inside of the ring. He's a very intelligent fighter. He's so different than, I guess, what you might see in public. He's just so different from that, and maybe he just feel he has to have a certain persona in public. But, I mean, really and truly, though, he's a really quiet guy. He's not a guy that, boasts about everything. But he's the kind of guy, too, that, he grew up in an era where you don't just let anybody talk to you a certain way without you responding, and I don't mind that, because, he has to feel the confidence within himself in order to let people know how he really feels.
Now, Richard, I have a question. Very seldom do we see two undefeated fighters in their prime. Perhaps they haven't even hit their prime yet. They're very young. They're undefeated fighters. Are we going to see a lot more of this in boxing?
Well, I think the fight fans, they really sort of like demand these kind of matchups. And I think over the past few years, there have been fights which were maybe not as evenly matched or not as compelling as a matchup. And the fight fans let us know that, hey, we're not okay with that. We want to see these kind of cards with Mares and Cuellar and J-Rock and Charlo, evenly matched fights, 50-50 fights, where you really don't know who is going to win. So yes, I think you're going to see much more of that.
A lot of fight critics have been saying that you're a great addition coming back with Ringstar Promotions. What else can you bring to the table?
Well, what I've seen is maybe a little bit of lack of promotion. I think we really need to bring the sport more to the masses again. We need to activate across the different platforms. I want to bring the pay-per-views into movie theaters again. I want to really do things right. And we need to keep the fighters in the public's eye, not just when they fight, but sort of like on a consistent basis, and try to develop marketing campaigns around the fighters to really make them more household names. And what we need as well is we need to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. I've seen so many negative stories coming out of from other promoters, from media members. 2016 has been the worst year ever, and so on. So we need to believe in our product. We need to believe ourselves in our sport, and not go and let everybody else know how bad boxing is, or how boxing is dying, or how horrible here it was. We need to look at the glass half full and not half empty.
Now, this is a question for both of you guys. We have Cuellar defending his WBA featherweight title. We have Charlo defending his IBF junior middleweight title. This is the fight against two young guys. However, a lot of fight fans and a lot of fight critics, once again, are excited about the trainers going head-to-head. You got Freddie Roach against Garcia, and now you have yourself against a young man in Stephen Edwards, a.k.a. Breadman. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's just let you know that that there's still a lot of good trainers in the sport. You just don't see one guy anymore. And at certain points, I guess, in boxing careers, that's what you're seeing, one guy all the time. Now you see different guys. Because I think everybody, a lot of trainers have just got down and learned the sport and just want to, have the best fighters out there themselves. And I think other fighters are now trusting in other people instead of just the same guy all the time. So it works out for everybody.
And what makes your fighter so much better than J-Rock?
Well, I just think, I've been knowing Jermall since he was like 8 years old. So, I have a good rapport with him, and I just know the kind of young man he really is. And I know what his will is. And when you know that, I just don't see nobody beat him that way. This guy has a will to win, and he does everything right. And it's hard to say that about a young guy.
And is he struggling to make 154? Can we see him possibly at 160? Because he's a big guy for
He is a big guy, but the thing about it is what I've learned and what he's learned. With me watching, I've been in the sport for a very long time. I've been with so many other champions, and I've seen how they've done it. But Jermall has been around that also, and he knows that if you want to be a champion and you want to stay a champion, you have to do what it takes to be that. You have to eat the way you're supposed to do that. And this kid, you know, he's learned nutrition. And, you know, he have a great nutritionist within the camp. You know, his conditioning coach, Danny Arnold. This guy, he went to college for this stuff, you know. And Jermall really believes in him. And he's seen the difference, you know, when he didn't have that to what he has right now. And so 154 pounds, look, he has to make it on Friday.
Right.
And then 164 on Saturday. That's not going to be a problem for him. You know, I mean, when, you know, people here are saying we're going up to 160. Of course we are. I mean, this is plenty more than likely his last fight at 154 pounds. But he's not going to, if I thought my guy was going to struggle to make that, he wouldn't be in this ring. I wouldn't let him. You know, because I realize it's too dangerous.
Right.
You know, I've seen guys get hurt behind doing the same thing. And I'm not going to take that chance with anybody that I train. And, you know, and I explain these things to all of my fighters. You know, if you're going to be the type of guy that don't do what you're supposed to do, you know what? You have to find somebody else that's going to really, you know, just put up with what you want to, just what you want to do. But I'm concerned about his health. And if I didn't think he was healthy enough to make 154 and be able to go at 12 hard rounds, then Jermall Charlo wouldn't be in that ring.
I actually have a question. You said he was going to move up to 160. Obviously, the next question would be, are you guys looking at Triple G in that division?
I wouldn't let him come from this division and then all of a sudden just go straight for a world title.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's very, that's you know, that'd be irresponsible for our whole team to just right away just want to do that.
Well, if it were Billy Joe Saunders, would it be?
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I was just going to say that.
Maybe not, right? It might be okay.
absolutely. If it was a guy like him, of course, you know, because we feel we can beat him right now.
I hope Billy's watching this.
I hope he is too.
We're gonna switch.
Glad you said it. Truth be told, I would have said it too.
Everyone else reciprocated.
But you know, it all depends on the fight, on who you put him in. You know, because look, he's never fought that way before, so he don't know. You know, I mean, there's a difference between, you know, the power, everything is so different. Because really, those guys are probably 180 pounds coming down to 160. Right now, you fight 165 to 170 pound fighters coming down to 154. It's a big difference.